How you doing? Good. What's your name?
I don't give out my name.
No? Who do you work for?
I work with Rona. We're just doing this for Graham.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Graham has informed us to do this. We're just subcontracting the loader to Graham.
Uh-huh. And
So I'll get on out here to talk to you.
why isn't he here?
I'm not sure. I call him right now.
Uh-huh. So this is the way the government works, is it?
Oh, I don't work for the government.
Well, you are working for the government because it's our tax dollars that is paying for this.
Oh, yeah, we're just a subcontractor. There he is right there. Hey, Chris, do you want to come out here? We get the landowner here. You good?
I'm just interested in what you're requesting of me as the contractor here. If you don't want me on here moving the stuff, I'm going to just back off and retreat. That's fine. Is that where you're...
No, I'm asking why they're destroying our stuff. Why they would, considering it rained on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and nobody could move in here till today. And we got a letter back, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, from the government stating, no, we can't give you an extension. But we thought, okay, if they're going to move it, at least they'll move it maybe nicely, not destroy our stuff. There's thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff there that they are destroying for no reason at all. Is that how you guys work your system? If you just bulldoze through people's lives? Well, that's what you're doing here. You're bulldozing through our life.
We'll retreat. We'll get out of your way soon. Sorry for your hassle.
No, we're going to have people here showing exactly what the hell is going on, what this bypass system is all about. That you guys don't, if you don't agree with the people, we'll just go right through you. When we started questioning the government as to the costs of it, initially in these studies they had said it should be around 400 to 500 million. Later on, when it went out to tender in 2014, early 2014, the government of Saskatchewan tender documents said that the cost of it should come in between $700 and $800 million for the entire project. Later on, the government actually revised that to $1.2 billion. They revised that based on that to have an all-inclusive road system, it would cost a little bit more than what they had initially figured at the $700 to $800 million. It wasn't until July of this year that we found out that the 1.2 billion had gone astronomically higher to 1.88 billion plus land.
For decades, Regina's East End has suffered the burden of heavy traffic. Most notably, a high volume of semi-trucks traveling the very same roads as commuters every single day. To put things into perspective, a semi-truck is equivalent to 10 or 12 cars, depending on the weight and length of the load on the truck. Anyone who has traveled on Victoria Avenue East in recent years will have endured the slow-moving traffic, which is magnified by the constant stop and go due to the growing number of traffic lights. Since 1993, the concept of a bypass was rightly entertained by our provincial and municipal governments. All along, the goal has been to divert the heavy truck traffic from Victoria Avenue in East Regina. Many stakeholders were involved in the decision-making process where the bypass route would be. Residents in the bedroom communities east of Regina are rightfully most concerned about safety. They want overpasses at busy intersections along the Trans-Canada Highway. Tragically, there have been several serious collisions and fatalities at those intersections over the past decade. Residents in these growing communities want that danger removed and the needless loss of life to stop immediately. When lives are on the line, governments are pressured to provide solutions, and solutions cost money. Lots of money. When the government declares they are funding projects, it draws the attention of many bidders, along with competing influences. As taxpayers, we deserve to know who played the major roles in decisions as historically significant as the location of the Regina Bypass. It is evident that this high-cost project is quickly becoming just another ring road, slightly beyond the existing ring road, solely to serve the needs of Regina, rather than the true highway bypass for through traffic, which has been planned for decades.
Where exactly is it actually going?
We have found that many Regina residents and Saskatchewan taxpayers are unclear about the exact bypass location. This is most likely because government information has been extremely hard to come by. Taxpayers have never been adequately informed about where the so-called bypass begins and ends, and the reasons for that choice.
Yes, they should show where they want to put things and the options and the costs, and they definitely need to show a study of what the heavy traffic is and where it's going.
Where do you think it's going? Yeah, but where do you think it starts?
By White City?
No, I'd never actually seen a map showing where it was going to be. I just knew that there was going to be a bypass to try and get the heavy traffic off of Victoria.
Tower Road or something, huh?
Yeah.
You know, I heard about the movement here to try to get the government to change, and I didn't like the way the minister responded.
Isn't Regina growing? Why would they put it at the Tower Road? I can't believe it.
As far as I'm concerned, it isn't a bypass. It's just a get-rich scheme for a few people.
I wonder, what do they have to hide? Like, why isn't... I mean, I was at a function and they sent their engineers. There wasn't anyone up speaking from the government. Like, why aren't they out and talking to the people? They're hiding.
My understanding is it's going to run right about here, which will take it right along the eastern edge of the city, very, very close to built-up areas. And it's going to take the traffic south around the city, same way the existing bypass does. It's not going to have an option to take traffic north around up to the industrial area.
I think it's too close to the city. It doesn't achieve the objectives, I think, that the highway department wanted, and that's to get a lot of the traffic in and around past the city. All they've done is conjugated it back at Victoria and Victoria Avenue and Tower. And they're still going to have a lot of similar problems going out to Pilot Butte, White City, Emerald Park, and Balgony. So I don't think they've lessened the traffic. They'll have increased it with the number of trucks that have to come this way.
And to me, the best way is to take it way past and go to Balgony and get the traffic out there. And that's a long-term plan. To here, this is a short-term solution.
If you're going to keep it to a bypass, move it outside. Go to the Balgony. Go to between Balgony and White City. Bring the traffic around to the north end. Bring it to where it's actually needed, ever as place, the refinery. To have it located to go to a south part, we already have the Global Transport Hub, which is basically a white elephant that was created for one major corporation, and the rest are all publicly crown corporations that have gone into there.
Why? Why did the government of Saskatchewan choose that location to begin the bypass? Why indeed? The majority of heavy truck traffic is headed for destinations in the north and east part of the city. Many trucks are aiming for destinations on Highway 6 North and Highway 11. This leaves the nagging question, why then is the bypass planned to loop south around the city? Unanswered in a project that has a $2 billion price tag. We still have not received the appropriate explanations. With a north bypass, Highway 46 already has the necessary infrastructure in place to serve the needs of the anticipated truck traffic. Adjacent land requires far less land acquisition, fewer construction headaches, and gets the majority of heavy trucks off Highway 1 at Balgony. This route achieves the desired goal of diverting heavy trucks off Victoria Avenue East and would cost approximately $800 million less than a south route starting at Tower Road. And that would still include the highly desired overpasses along the number 1 highway for residents of Balgonie, White City, and Pilot Butte. This would also enable trucks to access the global transportation hub and Highway 1 West. Tower Road. Who gains with this $2 billion taxpayer-funded construction project? A functional study on the south route of the bypass was done in 2012. Affected residents were told by a Ministry of Highways engineer he felt the location of the bypass was being built too close to city limits and Tower Road. Over 2 decades of studies and public consultations agree with the opinion of that senior engineer. Responding to this criticism, the location was moved further east from Tower Road, but by only 400 meters. Why? There was already a road to work with, albeit not at the right location, but at least there was infrastructure in place that would have reduced costs. Our guess is developers wanted a plan that would provide them with the opportunity for the highest return on investment in the shortest amount of time. A major commercial development is in the works on the southwest corner of Tower Road. This development would not have been possible if the location wasn't moved 400 meters to the east.
When Tower Road was moved 400 meters farther east, what it created was a very, very expensive overpass system going over top with curves, high-speed curves over top of railway tracks. These railway tracks carry twice a day 2 oil trains with at least 150 unit oil cars. This is the same oil that exploded at Lac Megantic.
So we started writing letters to the government, asking them questions. We started with Christine Tell, our local MLA in the area. She refused to comment. So we found that kind of disturbing, why somebody that's in government in our area wouldn't comment about it. She said, well, you talk to Highways about it. So we directed our questions to Highways. We met with Highways Minister. When we met with him, he said the location was decided years ago, that it's etched in stone. So we kept being persistent. We kept asking questions. We've spent a lot of time and energy on this to discover that etching in the stone. We wanted to see why Tower Road. What is the science behind building a bypass in the city that can only go one direction, that is impacting a lot of people for no good reason, that is only going to reroute 10% of the truck traffic south? What's going to happen to the rest of the truck traffic? Of course, they're going to keep coming into the city because they're going to the commercial industrial hub of the city, which is in the northeast end of the city. We took the MMM group and we took an engineer Highways on a drive, and we showed them different options that we thought from the people we were talking to that would make more sense. After the trip and during the course of the trip, we asked them, do you agree with this proposal? They said, no, we don't agree with it. But our mandate was only to study how to get from Tower Road to Pinkie Road. That was the option. So we said, why Tower Road? And a senior engineer with Highways told us why Tower Road. He said the developers influenced the decision. Now, we were shocked by that because we thought, how can the government be influenced by developers? And what benefit would they have? So we started following the money. And we looked into who bought land in this area in the last 3 years. And that became very, very obvious. A mall was proposed for here simultaneous with the announcement of the bypass. It was on the website, the Aurora Mall.
Why is the government taking action against property owners who have been outspoken proponents for a cheaper, more efficient alternative route that will alleviate heavy truck traffic from Victoria Avenue?
We signed off with the government on the Friday evening at the end of May. We were told that if we didn't sign then we would be expropriated on the Monday morning.
How much time did they give you to get off the property?
Actually, they told us we had to be out by the 30th of June.
So they gave you 1 month?
1 month. I think that there was not a due amount of consideration given to landowners, business owners, and homeowners in the path of the new bypass. We're not against progress when progress is good for everyone. However, I don't feel that this is the right location. I agree that it should go elsewhere, that this isn't far enough away from the city, that it could take the northern route and be more efficient. But we're not against progress in general.
Is your house being demolished then?
Yes, it will be.
Are all these trees going to have to come out for this?
Yes, I guess that will be the ditch for the new highway.
Why have the hired contractors decided to excavate and demolish all the real estate that belongs to the most vocal residents and taxpayers, 43-year taxpayers? These residents want only a fair review and a true functional study.
Why would they want to build a bypass through here? Look at the swamp area here. There's almost a half a mile here where they're going to have to haul in dirt. Why didn't they bring that bypass on the north side of number 1 and they wouldn't have to cross Wascana Creek? Can you imagine they're going to have to build up a bridge across here a half a mile long? I cannot replace this land again, this close to the city. That alone is worth lots of money. And seeing it was proposed one time, annexed into the city, it was on that map for a year, and then the city took it off when they heard the bypass was going to go through here. And I don't know why that was done. Maybe it was done to save the government money.
We have 170 teams that use the park, and there are more than 2,200 players that play in this park throughout the summer. The government has made the decision regarding the location of the ring road, and it will be going through.
Let's start again.
No, I'm getting to the.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
And they've made the decision regarding the location of the ring road, and the government will be purchasing the land from the city, and they will also be paying what they call damages to relocate and replace the facility.
Okay, did you mean to say bypass instead of ring road?
Well, the most of the articles, or they suggest ring road rather than bypass, and I I believe there's a difference. A bypass, you go from point A to point B without any off ramps or anything else, and with the ring road, it would be basically similar to what we've got in the city at the present time, where you've got commercial establishments alongside, etc. It services the business community, whereas a bypass, you go directly from point A to point B.
Why? When the majority of truck traffic goes to Ross Industrial or North destinations, did the government choose to build a south route? It defies engineering logic and adds outrageous costs with little benefits to the average taxpayer. Who is getting all this money? Who stood to benefit? Who lost their homes, businesses, and land? Once again, who gained? And why did they gain? Who is in charge? Who controls taxpayer money? Why are landowners getting so few responses and explanations justifying the Ministry of Highways' proposed $1.88 billion route? They say the first step to curing an evil is to make it known. If you care enough to vote, please care enough to do your homework on this project. Visit ytowerroad.net to learn more.